Hey, Coach Tina here. Boy, if you haven't gone to weekly group life coaching yet, I sure want to encourage you to find the next one in the event section and to go ahead and hopefully say that you're going. But if not, say that you're a maybe. And that will allow Facebook to remind you to try to come to the event. And it's about a half an hour that we spend together, and I'll go longer if people want to talk. But Thursday nights, 7 p.m. Central Time, whether it's standard or daylight. And let me share you a little bit about what we do when we are in our weekly life coaching. I always start off with, this is the agenda, and I have introductions. So if you're new, we'll ask you to share your name. And then I always have like kind of a question of the week, which you're going to see in a minute. And then I'll give a little bit of something that I've been thinking about, and it's usually related to the topic of the night, which is always something different. And then I tell you about any opportunities or upcoming events that we have. After that, it's time for question and answer, which is basically, hey, if you've got an issue going on, Coach Tina is here to help, and we can work together on it. So this is your time to share with me what's going on in your life and how I can support you. So welcome, welcome. I'm glad you're here. And let's go right into the introductions. Now, I am Coach Tina Gearing, and the question tonight is, what is an obstacle from your past that you are proud to say you eventually got over? Well, you guys may find this hard to believe, but there was a speech contest that I was a part of when I was in high school. It was probably early high school, like maybe 10th grade. And I forgot my speech halfway. Well, like I never even started it. And I stood up there, I tried, I started over when I lost my place, and I never finished. And I was devastated. Number one, I was embarrassed. I wasn't really sure if if that was gonna happen to me again. But you know what made it better? And I know this is gonna sound crazy, but I knew that speech forwards and backwards. And I really felt in my heart that I would have won that contest, especially after I had to sit there and listen to all the other people give their presentations. And afterwards, I didn't even believe in God at that point. But I kind of said, you know what? I think somebody else needed to win that more than me. And so I kind of felt like I was supernaturally blocked so that somebody else could go ahead. And that really made me feel so much better about the whole situation. So even though I was nervous that it would happen again, I didn't let it like paint the story of my life going forward. I just decided that, hey, if it's meant to happen, it'll happen. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't block the opportunity forever. It just means that maybe there's a different avenue that I haven't explored or figured out yet. So I would love to know your answer to this question. If you're watching it now, you could put that in the feed and I'll review it and get back with you. The next slide is going to be our tidbit. Now, I've been thinking about the topic of education and learning. And since it's back to school time, I thought that it would be great to talk on the tidbit of learning. Now, I always like to, when I'm examining a word or thinking about a topic, I usually will go to the dictionary and I'll define it. And I do that because I think everybody needs to have the same definition. So there's a lot of definitions for learning, but the one that I'm going to kind of hone in on is learning is a thing that you learn from experience and a lesson. Now, we call what happens in elementary or middle or high school lessons. We teach lessons. But is that really experience? When I was in the classroom, this was a debate that we had all the time about knowledge or education and learning. And the wonder always was around, we can give our kids an education, but they have to receive it and take it in and find how to like place it into their mind so that they can, when they experience this scenario, they're able to learn from it, right? So like the lesson doesn't happen until the experience that relates to it is embodied in us. So I always thought that was an interesting thing. And I apologize. My husband came home early and decided that he wants to mow the lawn right outside my window. So apologies, but he's getting our lawn to look nice before the rain comes, right? So I'd be curious to know if you think that learning and knowledge are the same thing. See, I like to think of them as a give, which is the education, and a receive, which is the learning, right? You have to receive it into you. And then you should be giving the lesson back to others. Tony Robbins always says that we should learn something so well that we can teach it to someone else. So keeping that in mind, the learning knowledge thing can be really beneficial. The other thing I was wondering about is, do you ever stop learning, right? Like I hope your position is lifelong learner like me. But I know, like my son, he's going into his last semester of college. He's leaving Saturday. But he said to me, he said, I'm not going to go for any more schooling, Mom. And I remember when I was on my undergraduate degree, and I thought the same thing. But it doesn't mean I stopped learning. It just means I put a halt in my education for that time period. I was done receiving, and I was ready to go and start giving back based on what I had learned. I was going to experience it and see what I could do with it. And that was kind of the last question is, what do you do with everything you learn? For a long time, I was a sponge and I just took it all in. And then I realized, no, my gift is to push it back out to people. Like I started as a technology trainer, and that from that place, what I recognized is I understood how software worked and I understood how people needed to use their computer. And I wanted to be the bridge between what they needed and how it worked. And so I was that person helping them not feel stupid, not feel stressed out over they had so much to do and how are they ever going to take it all in. No, I helped them see how it applied in the work that they needed to do. And so I became a conduit, is how I believe it. So now that's my passion. My passion is I have learned so much in the last 55 years. I have so many things that I want to share. But I need to know what everybody needs to know. I used to teach a class for the military, and it was a 24-hour class, 3 days, 8-hour days. And I used to tell them, I know 1,000 things that I could tell you in this time period, but each of you needs to know about 10 of them. And collectively, we only need to know about 100 of them, right? Like some of them overlapped. I said, but unless you tell me which 100 you need to know, I won't be able to be very effective in my training because I might pick 100 that you guys don't have any desire to learn about. But we're all up here for the same amount of time. So if you share what you need to know, here's the thing. If I don't know anything about it, I absolutely love going and finding out about it. And it doesn't take me very long to put together a set of information. Now, sure, I'm not like saying I'm going to get a master's in whatever you need help with, but I definitely have the skill set to get a good understanding and then to evaluate other people's systems and decide if what you like a path and who you might want to get instruction from, or what maybe you do want to go get learning from a formal education and a school of some sort. And that's my skill set. I think it's awesome. So let's talk about the actual life coaching I wanted to do tonight, which is about challenges. Now, what is a challenge? I think it's interesting. I was actually surprised by the definition of this, okay? So a challenge, when you invite someone to engage in a contest, I challenge you to, I dare you to do that. That's what came to mind, right? And then the second one is dispute the truth or validity of. So made me think of like you're playing Scrabble and you put a word down and the people you're playing with are like, That's not a word. And you're like, I think it is. And so if you want to potentially lose those points, you can go through with the challenge, look it up in the dictionary. If it's not a word, you lose your points. You might even get like a penalty. I don't know. Our family is pretty liberal when it comes to that. But those are considered challenges. And I love, you guys know I love Tony Robbins. Well, Tony Robbins says that whenever a challenge comes into his field, his thought is, a worthy opponent. So he sees it as an opportunity to experience something he hasn't before. And just like repetition of muscle, that resistance is what gives you the strength. When you're met with a challenge that you don't know how to deal with, because it's not a challenge if you know how to fix it, right? If life was super easy, we would all be bored to tears. So we have this challenge, and he says, ooh, a worthy opponent, because now you get to work and learn and try something new. Did I say learn? It's a lesson, right? Now, I was surprised the definition didn't bring that into play. But because I equate learning and lessons with positive things, I kind of struggle with, why do we call it a challenge? Because to me, it should be a celebration. And it's funny because I'm online like a lot of you are, and everybody has a challenge. And the challenge has, like, in my mind, a negative connotation with the way they say it. But I want it to be this exciting, fun, amazing celebration. And I don't want it to be a challenge. I want to look at it from a positive aspect or perspective and just be like, I'm going to crush this. I am going to make this new thing that I'm going to learn, this new worthy opponent, this lesson that's coming to me in my life. I'm going to make it valuable. I'm going to make it worth it. I'm going to take action on this thing that has come into my existence. And I'm going to call it a celebration. Before it even starts, I'm going to recognize it and choose, just like I choose to have a great day, I can choose to celebrate the resistance I'm up against, because it means growth is evident. Okay. Love all of this. I love it. I love it. I love it. So if you want to share some challenges you're going through, put them in the comments below. If you are not comfortable sharing in a group setting, I think that's why they made Messenger, right? So in Facebook Messenger, you can message me. I will get it. No one else will see it. I can communicate with you through that. Shoot, we could schedule a discovery call and work together. Those are all avenues that you have available as a member of the Empowering Champions group to learn, grow, and share your greatness. I know it's inside of you. I know I can help you, and I'm excited about doing it. So we're going to move on to the opportunities that are available over the rest of this week and next week. Today's the 19th. Coaching is obviously happening right now. And then tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., I'll be hosting our social coffee. So that is a Friday event. It switches between 7 a.m. and usually 7 p.m. You're going to notice next week there's a little bit of a change, but I'll tell you why in a minute. Then I have the weekend. I don't know why those are in yellow. Must have just been a weird fluke. My son is leaving this weekend. I told him I would help him with the last minute on his apartment and stuff. So I'm not doing a weekend workshop this weekend. I won't be doing one next weekend either, because I'll be in California. Newsflash, next week I'll be in California. But my plane has a significant, I think it's an hour and a half layover in Phoenix. I should be able to pop on and share maybe a Starbucks coffee if I'm lucky with you from the Phoenix airport at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. So if that time works for you, I would love to get to talk with you. I'll make an event for both of those coming up soon. We're trying to get much more organized in the group, so it's exciting to see what we have available. And then I'm going to have a great time in California. I'm hoping to do some of the fun stuff that I love to do when I visit my former home. Plus, the really fun thing is, you guys, this is a crazy story. My son goes to college in my old hometown. He came to me when he was 17 and he said, Mom, guess where I want to go to school? And when he told me, I just about passed out. I don't know why. We hadn't visited my hometown more than 3 times the whole time he was growing up. But for some reason, he felt compelled to go to Azusa and go to Azusa Pacific University. And so 3.5 years ago, I took him to Azusa, and that it had grown so much. And it was almost surreal. I used to walk by that campus every day to go to high school. And so to drop him off, and now the campus has expanded. So it's actually all the way around my old home. And so it's just weird. And here's the really crazy thing. Okay, so like it gets crazier. Right next door, where they built the Azusa Pacific extended campus. Okay, so it did not exist when I was young. There was a business there. So it was a business park, and the business owner was Avery Label. Okay, Avery Label was the name of this place. My son's name is Avery. So it's like he had a namesake, like somehow I planted a seed in that. I used to play on that. They had a big field next to the offices. And that's where me and my best friend, Nicole, would go and have picnics. And so the reason I'm telling you this, the weekend that I'm going is it's parent weekend. I'm actually going to see my mom. My mom and my stepdad and my brother still live there. So I'm going to see my mom. She's getting ready to move to Oklahoma, and she's struggling a little bit with getting all her stuff packed up. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to go see my mom, go to back to school night kind of a thing, parent weekend, and get to see my son's. It's going to be his last semester in college. So see his dorm room with him, love him up a little bit as a mom does. And then I'll be heading back home next week. So I don't know why I told you all that. Mostly because I just want you to know that I'm real, just like you guys. I have stuff going on in my life. It's not all about the life coaching, but I do think that there's so much that we can share, and our stories impact other people's stories. And I love to talk. So I'm going to end us tonight. I can't wait to hear more from you and to connect with you. And I hope that you have a completely blessed week and that I get to see you next week. Take care.